Welcome back. Let's pick it up a bit, Jeff. I just teased that we would talk about other schools, schools that are not overly selective. So let's start there. You hosted a dinner over the summer, I believe, with a dozen college and university chief financial officers or COOs, chief business officers, et cetera, who were in town for the annual NACUBO meeting. What's on their mind? What'd you learn?
Yeah, so Michael, I'm going to run through these pretty quickly, right? I thought there were a couple of themes that emerged from this dinner. One was, how do you really kind of balance budgets right now? There's a lot of deficit spending happening in higher ed. They really want to return to having some healthy budget margins. And they believe you can't grow to those, but you also can't cut your way. And their belief was that too many institutions are chasing new programs to boost revenue, which never really bring the returns that they think they will. And they're really avoiding the hard conversations about underperforming ones and cutting their way there, right? And this came up with Rick Staceloff last year in our Budget 101. It's a combination of both, and no institution is really willing. They all want to lean into the one, which is usually growing revenue, not making the hard decisions.
Yeah, quickly on that. Quickly on that,
Yeah.
Jeff. Phil Hill, I thought, had a great piece about the expectations that people put on their online programs when they
Oh,
launch.
that
Right,
was
and
a
just
great one. Yep.
great
Yep.
piece. Right, we'll link
Yep.
to it as well. Just outsize expectations. The growth is not there. And then we did a couple years ago on the show the Burning Glass report around these programs that launch, and like 5 years later they have like one
Nobody was
graduate.
graduating, right? Nobody
Exactly.
was graduating with them.
Right. And so I think you're right. Cutting has to be part of the equation. We have to be more serious. And then cooperation for that one student on your campus, maybe who wants that program. But like another storyline that got a lot of controversy was Pesci over the summer said, we're going to do course sharing among the campuses. And everyone was like, how dare you? We have to, frankly. You can still offer the whatever major that one or two students wanted to take, but the courses might be from other campuses online, would be my take.
Yeah, Michael, the other thing that was fascinating to me in terms of where the biggest bang for your buck could come, they believe that colleges and universities are underinvesting in philanthropy. They believe that actually that could bring bigger returns than building new programs faster. It's kind of the first time I ever heard somebody say something like that, by the way, is not in the development office. They talked about ROI is really in retention, right? Instead of enrollment. Everybody wants to try to boost their enrollment, but sometimes they do that at the expense of retention. And they believe the more investments they can make in student success, that really is bringing the best return in both mission and margin. We talked, of course, about AI because you can't leave a dinner these days without talking about AI. A lot of their boards are pushing them to use AI in back office and student services. They think there's a lot of limitations on them because they believe that AI is just not smart enough yet. But what was more interesting to them was that, okay, even if we use AI to essentially do somebody's job, the culture at these universities is still not there to say, oh, well, now we're going to eliminate 10 people or 15 people. As one CFO put it, right? You can't automate your way around, but Jeff's been here for 40 years, right? We can't get rid of him. He's going to retire in 5 years. Let's just wait. And speaking of retirement, the last piece was about faculty renewal. There's no more mandatory retirement in higher ed. You have tenure. Essentially, they're saying faculty aren't leaving. And that is a real big problem for them because they can't renew their faculty as a result.
Interesting. Well, as you know, I have a piece in the works doing a deep dive on the financials of some of these schools and some challenges that I was shocked by when I was looking at these numbers. We'll talk about that after it's released down the line. But one of my takeaways was that phased downsizing, when someone retires, not replacing them, has to also probably be a big part of this. And that's maybe where the AI could have an impact as opposed to pushing someone proactively out. But